5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome everyone to the West Canada Valley Board of Education meeting tonight, March 11th. Please stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll be starting out tonight with a special presentation from a familiar face, Mr. Shepardson, who will be, can you introduce?
Yeah, I'm going to do something. Well, welcome. I can skip a little bit of the introduction for me. So I brought with me tonight Steve Coop. He's our business manager. You've seen, I've met Steve before. He's come with Sandy in the past here. But I also want to introduce my new assistant, Carson Marco. So it's good to be back. I'll take you through the BOCES budget a little bit. As you know, the voting for each district's the administrative portion of it. But just like our budgets, the administrative capital and program portions are all broken up at BOCES. I'm going to take you through the administrative piece of it tonight, which is the smallest portion of the budget. But I also want to lead us into and kind of show you the capital, talk a little bit about the BOCES project to give everybody an update. And I'm also here, obviously, to answer any questions you have about, anything at BOCES or anything that, you had questions about, whether it's stuff I present tonight or anything else. I've told, every board that I've gone to, if there's ever things going on at BOCES, any opportunities, some of them have taken advantage of that for me to come up and talk for a little bit about some other things as well. So if there's anything that ever comes up about BOCES or anything that wants to be included, I've told Mr. Sidden the same thing. I'll take a few minutes to skip up here and get going. So throughout the presentation, I put pictures in for the districts. These should be all West Canada kids that are in here, so you get an opportunity to see some of the different programs down there and where all the West Canada kids are, being educated and so forth, especially in the CTE areas. So I'll take you through this. Again, I'm not going to go line by line with everything, but if you have any questions on anything here as it relates to anything that's up on the screen, please let me know. Hopefully you have all the hard copies in front of you. You can take a look at past budgets from 22-23 all the way up through the proposed budgets. The administrative portion of the budget's made up of the Board of Education, District Superintendent, Central Administration, Business Administration, and some other charges of movement charges that we transfer and are put into this portion of this. Like your budgets here and like every other budget we talk about in every other district, all of this is really driven by retirement costs, post-employment benefits, and contractual costs. So once we get done with all that and it rolls into the next portion of the budget, there's very little adjusting, especially in this small portion of the budget. So you can see overall, all of that with the increases we have equals 9.77%. The first portion is the Board of Education. Those are the photos of and the membership that is there. There are 3 seats that are up this year. Little Falls, Richfield Springs, and Frankfurt. Yes, Frankfurt. Thank you, Jeannie. Those are the 3 seats that will be up this year that you'll be voting on. Over on the right-hand side, you can see the costs that are associated with the Board of Education down at BOCES, and that'll take you through 22, 23, this previous year, and the proposal for this year. All of the costs that are associated with the district superintendent's office, including benefits, insurance, all those kinds of things that are in their salary, contracts, and you can see how that's sort of gone over the past 3 years as well. As part of the increases that are in this portion of the budget. Central administration, these are assistant superintendents, office staff and so forth that are in there. Supplies and materials, travel, all the different things, and again, most of it's related to contractual insurance and so forth with that. The business office over at BOCES, this is the area that covers all the office staff, our business manager and so forth, Mr. Coop, and all the costs that are associated in that area. Again, all lined up and broken down by contract insurance, health insurance and so forth. So just a couple things about this one. One of the things that we're undertaking down there is kind of a look at the business office down there. One of the things that I'm trying to get a handle on is our efficiencies down there in terms of how that is run and the cost of how the business office is run. We used to have the CBO down there, which we didn't really participate in, but we don't anymore. Yeah, there's some different things going on with that still. So we've got some people in who are experienced in the BOCES area helping us with that. That is part of some of the cost increase that's in this business office portion. What I think in the end is going to happen here is we're going to become a lot more efficient where we can benefit the district and so forth, the districts I should say, with being a little bit more cost effective with our aids and things like that. So we're undertaking that right now. It seems to be going well. We're in the first stages of that, and then that'll carry into next year as well. So I always stop here for Steve to kind of talk about this. It's a really low number, but it has to do with some things that I just talked about when it comes to transferring money and where things go in certain portions of that. So I'll let you go ahead, Steve, and talk a little bit about that.
So the transfer charges in BOCES are the indirect costs that we don't bill for. So we bill for services like the special education programs, the career and tech program, and we have to transfer other costs like operations and maintenance, the telephone system, computer support, and we divvy those up by whatever the cost driver of that program is. So telephones, for example, it's how many handsets are across the BOCES, and then we take how many are in the business office, and we take that portion of the telephone charge and put it to the business office. And we do the same thing with computer support. We divide up how many computers are throughout the BOCES. We add up the ones for the business office, and we prorate that total computer support amount over to the business office. So that's what those are.
So the big jump in there is because
the big jump in computer support is those computers used to be shared by the central business office and the BOCES business office. Once we closed down the central business office, we still had the same number of computers, same number, almost the same number of staff. We're down about 20%, but the cost of the computers is no longer split, so it's all got pushed into the business office. So that's why you see that jump in computer support.
So the strategy around everything is to have things where they're legally supposed to be put inside of each section of these budgets, but also trying to make sure that they're transparent, but also maximizing the aid of all the districts. So obviously my job down there now is to take the money from the 10 districts, put it into place, maximize the aid back to you, and just like we do here, try to underspend that budget so that you get your refunds back. So again, the difference with BOCES versus here is we take taxpayers' money and they trust all of you in here with that to spend it accordingly. BOCES, we take all 10 districts, their money, and you're quasi the taxpayers here. So we take your money, we estimate what the budget's going to be for the year across the board, and then we hope to underspend that, and then whatever we do not spend, the good news is for districts is you get that back. It goes back into your account. So, there's a couple ways to look at it. That's how BOCES basically runs in terms of the finances of that. I've had some districts say, well, what incentive do you have to not spend out the money that we give you? And the answer to that is, we're only going to spend what you drive to spend. So BOCES is kind of different because we budget. We talk about unknowns here. Down there, it's like times 100. So in the middle of the year, we might have 8 special ed kids where we've got to open up a whole other class that we don't even know about right now. So all that money's there to adjust to that and add all the tuitions that come into that drive. So when you're looking at your BOCES budgets, and you see increases or see more BOCES spending out of the district, sometimes that's a better thing, especially if it's making sense, because that money that you see going up there is driving aid for you on that. One of the things I've cautioned districts on, and this is just my thoughts on this, is just to be careful when you start to look at tighter budgets and all the things that are going to be coming here, that BOCES is not necessarily the area that we want to go after right away. So initially districts will make this idea that, well, we're going to bring everything back, we're going to save our money now and not spend it on BOCES, which is fine. So in the short term, maybe that'll be effective. But then once you start to need those services, remember, you're a year behind always in that aid coming back. So then all of a sudden you're going in there and you're spending all this money on BOCES with zero aid coming back on it, because you gotta wait a whole nother year to get it back because you stopped it. So to keep that aid flow going, you wanna stay into that kind of flow. So unless it's absolutely necessary, you're desperate, that's just not an area that you wanna necessarily attack, I would say. So this is what drives it. You can see the numbers there. Post-employment health costs, that's every budget in every school or anywhere you go. This is what the numbers, you wait to get these numbers, just like we're here, Kelly waits to get these numbers, and this is what drives. So she plugs her contracts in, she plugs all this information in, and then we've got a little bit left to work with on that. And that's no different for Steve down there as well. That really drives everything. So we've heard this before, the Arwada stuff. This is essentially based on the size of the school. The only thing I would caution you is when you look at those numbers from 23-24 to 24-25, those aren't identical enrollment numbers necessarily. They're based, there's some formulas with attendance rates and things like that. So sometimes districts will go, that's not exactly what our enrollment is right now in terms of district-wide. It might be a little lower, it might be a little than you're used to, but it still breaks down basically by the size of the school. And that determines your portion that you're essentially paying in. So you'll see West Canada Valley on the bottom there, and you can see the portion of the admin budget that West Canada Valley is portioned for based on their Arwada. So I like this slide this year. So you'll see this is where we bring the capital portion, which you don't vote on, into this combined budget. And as you look across there, with the exception of Dowdesville, everybody else has a significant drop in terms of their capital charges. Okay, in terms of their administrative and capital together. The reason for that is the diminishing cost of the project. So the first year you paid X amount up front for the project, and then that number diminishes, which is going to show a decrease. Dowdesville is paying more because they paid less in the first year by choice, and they're going to have to pay more this year than everybody else does. So that's why they see such a drastic increase. So that was an interesting conversation up there when they all looked at it, and I had to explain to them, yours is up this year because everybody else paid more than you did last year. Okay, so everybody else, is on the good side of the project at this point, or will be on the good side of it. So this is a slide I could put anywhere. You look at the uncontrollables. This is, you could use that here. Your contractual increases, your health insurance, your retirement health, very similar to your own district, except you receive 8 on it here, okay? And you're 76.1, I believe, here. So, if you think about 76%, that's 76,000 back on 100 grand that you're spending. So that's how the aid's driven. So you can't get, when you spend 100 grand here in West Canada, that's 100 grand. When you spend 100 grand at BOCES, it's not 100 grand, it's 24,000. So, I just mentioned this already. BOCES relies on the funds from the districts. That's where the money comes from. I say this to all the districts. I would say that to here as well. BOCES is a great place to share services. You're going to hear a lot about regionalization, shared services, opportunities for the kids, and that's absolutely true. And where it makes sense for West Canada, obviously we open, welcome arms, come down, let's take as many of you as you can. But it's still got to make sense. It's hard when you're trying to share things that don't make sense or don't work as well for the district itself. So there's a balance between the two of those. But when it does make sense, it is really the most cost-effective way to educate and offer opportunities that you wouldn't be able to offer at your home schools. All right, so I'm going to stop there in terms of the budget portion of this before I start talking projects and voting dates and all that kind of stuff. Is there any questions at all on the administrative portion, the capital portions of the budget? I can tell you in future years, Steve knows this, I'll say this openly, the budget calendar is not exactly where I want it down there, it's a little dragging. So we're getting there, next year it's going to be better. The program portions of the budget will be discussed a lot sooner next year, and they'll be discussed in person with your business office, your superintendent, and all that kind of stuff. So we're moving along through that, and the program budgets, I believe, have already been set, correct? Out to the district, so they have them. So those portions are starting to be plugged in so that you can sort of put your budgets together, because that's what you're waiting on, you know, is what's the program portion gonna be, so Kelly has that now, and, you know, she can start to plug that in. Any other questions though on any of that? All right. So a couple dates to remember. Sean Maxon will be sending this out Thursday, April 11th, down in the lobby at the Web Complex in East Herkimer. There was thoughts of it being over on German Street, but we're going to do it over at the Web. A lot easier. And congratulations. I didn't tell everybody this wasn't fixed, by the way. Lots of other schools did it, but I didn't get to handpick who's coming. It just, every 10 years, it happened to be the year. So it's West Canada Valley will be the presenters, I believe. Is it the jazz band? Do we know? Yes.
I believe
Jazz band, okay. So doing it a little different, it's not a full dinner thing, it's gonna be, you know, kind of mingling, appetizer type things and desserts around there to pick at, and then we'll run the meeting, which is generally pretty short, and there'll be some mingling and things like that while the performance is going on. So obviously I'm looking forward to it with West Canada being there, and so forth. The Community Partnership Award will also be handed out that night. That's our EAP organization, which deals a lot with supporting the employees in the region and so forth in terms of their needs in multiple different areas. So they get a lot of use in the region, especially with all the lack of resources. Wednesday, April 17th is your scheduled date of BOCES budget vote and the election of board members, whether you're doing that at 7 in the morning or not, that's up to you guys then. And you'll do that on that date and submit that. Yeah, just a couple more pictures of the kids from West Canada and programs there. Obviously, appreciate all of the support that the district provides BOCES. Okay, so the project. I'll take you through this just a little bit. The project was formally, the BOCES project was officially approved in January. And again, this slide's, you know, kind of carried me through since I've been going out to districts. The bid opening happened on February 13th, and the BOCES board accepted the bids just about 10, 14 days later. And the contracts are all signed and ready to go to low bidders. We've already had our first contractor owner meeting last week in regards to the start of that, and then construction will begin in May and June and continue through the summer of 2025. So just so you know how this is all going to work, all of the work that's going on this year is going to be in East Herkimer. Actually, let me click ahead to that next slide. Yeah, so although it's not giant for you there, I know you have a handout. So basically, the middle area, the open space on the middle to the left is the lobby area. Most of the work is going to be on the entire special ed side, which doesn't meet any sort of requirements for special needs students at this time. So that's where most of the work is. HVAC across the whole thing, lighting and all the electrical things that we're doing, plumbing, mechanical. If we think back to all the things we needed to do here that were kind of nuts and bolts, that's kind of times 100 down there, just so you know what we're doing there. So a lot of it's behind the scenes type of work, getting things not up to, you know, up to regulations and so forth. The first portion for the first year is $23,972,000. I will tell you that we came in about $3.3 million under with our bidding. Bidding is a lot more fun, just so you know, on $50 million projects. There's a lot more people there with $50 million, just so you know. Here we were like, getting one down there was a lot of people that, you know, not enormous, but a lot. And our friends Brandon Lee did us a nice favor that we've had here. So, so that's great. That helps us a lot. Remember, this is an extended project that'll go through this year, and then it'll shift over to Remington and Ilion the following year. So we'll kind of manage that cash flow and everything that goes with that through this year, and then start to carry over some of that into the next project and so forth. The special needs students who typically would attend the web next year in East Herkimer will be sliding over to the right-hand side of Remington. So over at Remington, we will be jammed next year. The right side will be special needs, and the left side will be all ed for next year. Because we are emptying out that whole left side. The right side for CTE and all the technical will stay in place for next year. There will be no change to that. And some of the work that's got to be done in there will be second shift. Summer programs for this year, just so you know, Jarvis Middle School for regular regional summer school, that's where it's been for the last several years. And Little Falls Middle School will be the extended school year for special needs. That's typically held at the web, but obviously we're clearing that out in June and getting the work started, which will take a full calendar year to complete. The good news is, when I got down there, we were looking at 2 years potentially and shifting kids all over the place. But by being able to clear them and just get to work and open that place up, I think we can get this done by next summer. So it'll only be a disruption, and the web will be ready to roll full time after this year. That's it. Questions on anything in terms of project, the budget that I presented, BOCES in general? You help me about anything, whatever you want, anything you want, anything you need?
Are all the people running that are on here?
I haven't heard yet, Mr. Kemmler, if all those 3 are running yet.
Oh, okay.
I actually asked Sean,
We don't get that until we vote.
what's the date, there's a date that they have to have that turned in by, it's coming up here, that they've got to submit their nominations by, maybe another week or so. Yeah, so once that gets released, Mr. Kemmler, that'll get released to all of you. I'll send that to Mr. Sidden. As soon as they submit their nominations, and you'll have them.
That's
Yep.
When we have our 7 o'clock meeting, that's when we get to meet them all.
Yeah, yeah, so I don't know the answer until they send them to me either, so. Janine probably knows a little bit more here, Sam.
Tiffany just said March 13th.
March, thank you.
I just don't know about.
I knew it was coming up this week, actually.
I know Kansasville already has,
Yes, okay.
but I didn't know about Tom.
Tom, I think, is. So the answer probably is yes to that. Any other questions?
DJ, is the whole board invited to come to the meeting?
Yeah, so they'll send an invitation out to anybody on the board, if it hasn't gone out already. Did you get the invitation, Jeff, for the annual? You'll get it. If you didn't, you'll get it. So anybody, and then she'll ask how many people are coming and all
Okay.
that kind of stuff. So everybody's invited to that.
You
Yep.
have to be there,
I
Yes,
know.
you do, yes, yes.
I might be sick that day.
You are required.
No.
Janine's speaking, yes, she's not gonna
No.
speak. I got her on the agenda, no. Anything else, any other questions? Because I know you got a lot to do here tonight, so I don't wanna take up more of your time than you need.
Thank you, Mr. Shepherdson. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, anytime, anything you need or any questions you have or anything that's come up, let me know and I'll shoot up here for you guys and all that, okay? All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to hear from our administrators now. Mr. Hoban, would you like to start?
Sure.
Hear about some sports.
Sure. Obviously, we just finished our winter season as of Friday. In review, we had 3 league championships, we have a sectional title, we have 2 of our sports teams that were represented at a New York State championship. Some of the accolades for the individual athletes are starting to come out. I'd rather wait till I get them all together for you, so when I present that to Mr. Sidden for the next, I'll make sure we know all the awards and accolades that came out for all our individual athletes as well. But I know there's going to be a player of the year, all league players, all CNY, and we do have an individual state champion, which I will mention her in a little bit. Girls cheerleading team competed in the Section 3 championship. That was held at the OCC SRC Arena area. Our indoor track teams did well in sectionals. We do have a sectional champion weight thrower in Blake Reese. Ian Farber also qualified in the weight throw, and I had the pleasure to go down with him to Staten Island to compete at Ocean Breeze facility, where he competed in the state championship for that. The boys basketball team competed in the Section 3 semifinals in Whitesboro. I'm sure a lot of you were there, and it was an exciting game to see. The girls basketball competed in the Section 3 finals at Onondaga Community College. They finished the record at 23-1. I unfortunately couldn't be there because I was with Ian Farber at the time down in Staten Island, but I know that Mr. Broadbent, and you were there at that
Yes.
one, yep, and Mr. Sidden were there to kept me. I was getting, 45 seconds, so I was hearing all that. So, I'm very proud of what they were doing as far as how they finished out with that. The boys bowling team finished 7th at sectionals. The girls bowling team captured a Section 3 championship. They also competed at the state championship this past Friday in Syracuse. The girls as a team placed 6th in New York State. Emma Bacrina was awarded the Section 3 Sportsmanship Award, and Carmen Youngs was named the Division II overall individual champion, where for 6 games she averaged a 210. She knocked down 1,260 pins in 6 games. The spring varsity sports began today with softball, baseball, and track, both boys and girls track. The modified teams will be starting, officially they can start April 1st based on our CSD league, but we kind of said we're going to wait for them to come back from their break. So they'll start about the 9th of April 9th. We've been working with Mr. Siddon as far as the new uniforms that we're trying to get done based on the replacements and with the new logo and the things. And, you know, that's a challenging thing because now we're creating a whole new branding for our teams, and we want to make sure that we're giving them the look that we want our athletes to be represented as. And so far, it's been a pretty smooth process. I usually work with the coach, get the images to me. I'll get to Mr. Siddon. Sometimes we'll sit down. Occasionally, it can be done just through email, but we'll get it cleared as to what we want, if we want any changes, and then we move forward to getting the procurement of those things. Fitness center continues to be open. That I just checked on my way here tonight, and we're averaging somewhere between 6 to 8. There'll be some lighter days. It's going to depend on the day, I think, but it is being utilized, so I think it's an important thing for us to continue to offer. Schedules for the spring, they're all up on Schedule Galaxy. There's been a few changes. Track, we're still working out some of the invites that we have, but for baseball, softball, at both levels, varsity and modified, they should be clear as to what they are on Schedule Galaxy. Lastly, this is my first winter time getting through it, but I really need to give out thanks to Mr. Siddon and to Daphne and Heather in the office, the business office. These guys over here, I mean, I bring them goodies every Monday because they take such good care of me and they make my life so much easier. And, you know, Mr. Ray and I, we're very good texting buddies now. So, you know, I just want to make sure that I give them the credit for making my job a little bit easier. So that's where we are. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if it's a question or not.
Okay.
Girls sectional game, East Syracuse, Manoa.
Yep.
We went to our game. Some of us were going to stay and watch the Dowsel girls, which kind of, you know, they supported us, we supported them. And we were asked to leave.
Yeah, I've been prepped a little bit on that.
I
The one thing that I can say, and I'll bring it up at our next CSE, because it was not brought up at the last meeting that I was at. Again, CSE is only a league, but within there, I have athletic directors that are part of the athletic council. I am not part of the athletic council, not that I don't want to be, but you know, I gotta put my dues in before I get a chance to get on there to be able to represent us and some of the things and the concerns that happen. That is a Section 3 decision, but it's certainly something that I think we should voice those concerns, because I did not say, I wasn't there, I didn't see it, but obviously I heard about it, so I certainly think it's a valid point to put out there, because
Yeah.
we're facing that a little bit with other issues when it comes to venues and you know, indoor track was one. So there's a cost factor in here that we need to kind of look at and say, aren't we here to support our kids? Because
That's right.
that is something I would agree with you totally, and it certainly would be, I'll give every opportunity that I can to share that information with them.
Well, the other thing is the $15 charge.
Yep.
High school is for families.
Yep.
Well, I did go to Whitesboro, and I went to the first game, and I know Tom Meese very well. And I told him, I said, you need a bomb to get me out of here if you try to move me. But he says, what are you talking about? And I told him about that, and he said, that should never happen. So no problem there. The $15, where did they come up with that?
I don't know that answer,
Well, could
but
you
I will.
ask that question
I
for
will
me?
ask that question.
You
and
just
find
tell
out.
them, it's outrageous.
Yeah,
I went to the regionals down in Troy Saturday, $8. Regionals, unbelievable.
yeah. I will
TJ is
send this-
aware of us being asked to leave, because I've been his ear at the BOCES meeting, and he's on the committee. And he asked me who asked us to leave, and I said it was the guy that I stood and talked to all night long. Told us we had to leave or had to go outside and pay $15 to come back in. And I stood and talked to the Dowsville coach, she had 10 spectators there.
Yeah.
I said, well, we'll stay for a little while, I like to wait for the people to all leave before I leave. And she said, oh, I would appreciate it. Then we got asked to leave, they had their 10 spectators there, that's all they had.
I
Because
do
West
know-
Canada couldn't stay.
I do know that, unfortunately, we don't have anyone competing in the state championship, but there's been even some kickback with some of the issues there with ticketing. And that you used to be able to go in and pay one price and be able to see the multi-games, and they've already said they're doing very similar things, that you gotta, I think you might have to buy a package or something like that, but you're gonna have to leave as well.
I mean, in Westboro, I saw a young man and a young woman with 3 kids.
Yeah.
Cost them $75 to get in the door.
Yep.
I mean, that's I mean, the $15 to me is just outrageous.
Yeah.
It's only $10 for the state.
Yep, but if Grampy continues to win, I got 6 grandchildren, so it's gonna cost
Yeah.
tonight a lot of money, so.
I mean, it's just unbelievable that, where did they come up with that price?
I don't know that answer, but I will ask that.
Thank you, thank you.
Yep.
Every section's
But
different.
DJ's on that committee, he told me.
On the
Are
athletic
they all
council,
charging that, all sections?
Every section's different, and that's the thing,
Yeah.
there needs to be
I just
consistency.
find it absolutely
From the sections.
Unbelievable.
Inconsistency is you used to be able to pay, if your game was at 7, you could go to the 5 o'clock game.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
you could, vice versa, you could
Right.
stay.
And I think
Never been
it's-
asked to leave before when you wanna watch
We
the
were gonna
next.
stay as a courtesy to the Dowsville team, because they
Yep.
came and watched half of our game.
I think it's venue specific too, so.
It
we'll get the
is.
information
Yeah.
And we also, in section 3, are having some issues when it comes to the overall leadership, that there's been kind of a revolving door going on right now, and we're just still dealing with an interim, and I'm not so sure who's making that decision because of that situation. It could have been made to a prior administration, but I don't know that answer. But I'll ask.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Mr. Hoban.
Mr. Ray?
I don't have a real lot. Like Ms. Robin said, winter sports kind of stopped Friday was our last trip. We got late run going. We won't be starting off summer or spring trips until after break. DOT was here today. This was the last inspection for the year. All the buses passed, so we should have 100% for our profile. That comes out in April. The state year runs from April to April. Our 3 large buses are still slated for May delivery. They said it's actually, we're lucky, ours didn't get pushed again because some other places did get pushed, and they're actually looking at possibly October for some of the other places. The big problem with this is they had a design change in the new buses that are coming in, and they had some problems with the assembly plant, that's why they keep getting pushed. The EV stuff, I filled out the application for the fleet assessment through National Grid. Just waiting to hear back from them. They said it could take up to 90 days. I know there's a lot of traction throughout the state where there's some pushback now, so hopefully, some of this will get pushed back and we'll have more time to adjust the EV stuff. Any questions?
Good job on the inspections.
Thank you.
Alright, so March is a busy month, as far as stuff going on. We had an honors program field trip on the 1st, it was cake and cookie decorating, 3 kids went with Mrs. Malin from her, had her in their global gourmet class, so they went down, they decorated cookies, somebody came in and, taught them how to do it and different stuff like that, they really had a good time. On March 1st, both, I think it was the 5th through, 4th through 12th grade had assemblies on air safety. We had 3 assemblies. Mr. Farrington worked with, Trooper Whitney, I'm sorry. Trooper Whitney to do internet safety. We've done it every year for the past 3 years. Last year we used the CAC, Child Advocacy Center, but this year we went back to the New York State Police. So we had those, and each one was designed for the age group, with a little more intense view of internet safety as they got a little bit older for the day. The 7th last week, we had our all bands concert, grades 5 through 12. Really enjoyed it. Kids did a great job. Total 147 students in the band program here at West Canada Valley, grades 5 through 12. So that's pretty impressive. Upcoming events, we got March 13th and 15th this week. We have Arts into Motion Assembly with Tom Verano. It was some social emotional stuff, paints upside down, flips it over, tells a story, and when he flips it over, you see the person he's painting about. So really excited about that. We have three assemblies, 2 on the 13th and 1 on the 15th for faculty and staff. And for that, we get to actually keep 1 painting from each show. So you'll be able to see those the next board meeting. I'll have them in here so you can see those. BOCES open house is also March 13th at night for any parents or kids interested in going down there. March 14th, we have our chorus concert, grades 5 through 12, music in our schools. The 15th and 16th this week, we have all county music at Richfield Springs. That starts at 3 o'clock on Saturday, but our kids go and practice on Friday, and then they leave here at 8 o'clock Saturday morning. They're down there all day, and then perform at 3. So if you're looking for something to do Saturday, that'd be a good thing. March 19th and 21st, Mr. Farrington is doing a women's safety presentation for our 11th and 12th graders, for our girls. So we're gonna have a period for each group. He's gonna go over some safety ideas, going to college, just being out in public, things they can look for to protect themselves and be safer when they're out leaving off to college. March 20th, we have our alumni basketball, faculty alumni basketball game. It's a senior fundraiser. Same as we did last year. Ms. Conover is playing a big part in getting that together. So that's something coming up. And then March 22nd and 23rd, we have our Drama Club play and our first annual art show. So busy month, a lot to do, a lot to come and see. Our kids are doing a lot of great stuff. Last thing I wanted to talk about is I had a folder. Actually had an opportunity to go tour Geppetto Studio down in Broad Street, Utica. Look at all the different mascots he had down there, his working process, met with his staff. Inside here is an estimate for a mascot. It's a 3,800, and that would be a flat fee. He'd work with us, give us 1 to 2 drawings based on some of our feedback. We could get that in right off the bat, start working with it. This first picture here, the green one, that's a parrot that he did. So that can give you an idea of the work he does. And the next 2 pictures in there is a rooster that he did for Utica, for the marketplace at the train station. So he would do something similar to these 2 mascots here. He also did Poland's mascot recently, and he worked with them and heard good things about that. So if this is something we would like to pursue, we have that donation of $10,000. We could take 3,800 of that.
Plus sales tax and delivery.
Actually, because we are a school, as long as we send them in, we will not be charged sales tax as a nonprofit. And as far as delivery, I don't believe there's any charge for that. That's something. So it'd be a straight 3,800. So then I would meet with you and let you decide how we wanted to proceed, and I would reach out to him once I had an answer. He said he could have it ready for us in the fall if we chose to do it. He does have a few projects he's working on now. But compared to some of the prices online I've looked at, this is actually a pretty good deal. And he's actually charging us much less than he would a another client, because we're a school. You know, he tries to give schools a little bit of a break. But he is working on some other schools currently as well, so.
Is everyone good with moving forward with the costume?
Did they say how durable it was? Like, how long is this gonna last? Because it looks a little,
I mean, it depends on
Intricate.
how we take care of it. They would do repairs, but, you know, it would cost depending on kind of repairs and how damaged it was. I mean, I could work with him to, you know, if we're looking at durability, I could focus on, you know, that. You know, the rooster, the feathers and stuff, they're not gonna be flapping around and running around. But if I tell him we're gonna be running around in it, he will take that into account when he's working on it. And we can customize it if we wanna have a totally purple Nighthawk with white stripes, we can do that. If we wanna, you know, however we wanna do it. The wings, I spoke to him about the wings, and the one picture of the parrot, those wings are more stationary, a large body with the wings. You would look for something that you would slide your arm into and kind of hold it so that you could move the wings more easily.
He's gonna be able to adapt it so that it can be worn by elementary and high school?
So that you're looking at maybe like a 5'6" to 6 foot.
So those are gonna benefit elementary, they're not gonna be able, they're gonna have to.
They won't be able to wear it,
they're
but
gonna have a person wear it.
our kids would go over there, you know, we'd have students would dress up, go to morning program, go to events.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a little one wear it.
Just make the thing look not too vicious or ferocious, you don't need any nightmares.
And I would form a small committee, just to kind of brainstorm some ideas to shoot to him as he's starting the process, what we're looking for. But yeah, I mean, he's gonna try to make it durable. He was talking about making it so you can put like a shoe in there and Velcro it to it and stuff like that. To make it more available for outdoors, because I told him they'd be using it for sporting events outside, inside, you know, different things. Maybe come out on trunk or treat and walk around and greet, you know, people, stuff like that. And as far as finding a kid to dress up, there's kids lining up to do it, so.
Okay.
And this was important, because we were on the committee for the mascot, and the kids wanted something that they could,
Yeah,
they wanted something that you could wear, that was part of your,
Yeah.
so.
This has been driven, I think, by those
Yeah.
discussions.
I mean, for a long time, we had a mascot where we didn't really have a mascot. We had and I think they liked the idea of, you know, getting pumped up at the games and, you know, they dressed up that one basketball game in dinosaur suits and stuff like that, and I think that was the most fun that kids had in a while. So,
Totally kicked us out.
but yeah, you know, our kids, they really get excited about this type of stuff, and to them, it was important to them.
And you asked for purple and white on it.
Good, everybody good? Okay.
I'm not, I'd like to have more discussion
Okay, so what would you like to
in
discuss?
executive session.
If we're discussing this costume.
Okay, well, I think the money could be better well spent than $3,800 on a costume. I don't care if it's taxpayer money or this donation, I think they could be able to be better well spent, just my opinion.
I think we spend a lot on education, we spend a lot on what these kids need, and I think something fun for the kids doesn't really hurt.
Especially
Once
with
in a
the-
while.
Especially
Want
just
it.
the time of us changing our mascot.
Right.
And it's not like it's an every year thing, I mean, this is probably
Right.
gonna be like, they might have it for 20 years. you
Hopefully.
know, So, yeah.
Well, that's why I wanted you to check, like, how long is this outfit's gonna last?
I mean, he had one that was there, that was 5 years old. He was fixing that up, I think it was $400. He told me he was stretching to fix it up. And it was a head that had a hole put into it. So, I'm not sure if somebody's foot went through it and stepped on it or what, but, you know.
Have they done any work for any other schools?
They did Poland,
Who?
Poland Central School District.
They did?
Yeah, I actually, the last board meeting, I had given you a picture of Poland's, the tornado. You worked with that, and, you know, They started out one thing and they wanted to change it, and he actually altered the suit after the fact. You know, he prefers not to, because it's a lot more work intensive, but originally the tornado kind of spun out like right here, and they ended up wanting it brought down more ankle, so, you know, he made those adjustments. He is working, I think, with some other schools right now as well, but they're custom, I think they're in the phase that we're in, or just shy ahead of us. He is currently working on some Disney stuff. A project for a live action Disney show. So, and I got to see that, and that was, you know, great work. Very, you know, the eyes and the thing moves and stuff moved around and stuff like that. So, you know, he does good work. He's
Close by too.
He's close by.
That's surprising that there's someone that does that, yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I probably spent an hour at a shop, just, you know, speaking with him. He showed me his spray paint room, different, tons of different costumes that he's done, worked on, currently working on, the pieces, the feet, how he does all of that. He has some ideas. He's kind of excited, because he's never done a hawk before, so it'll be a little bit of a creative thing for him at that point as well. If there's stuff that we really want to focus, like durability, color, what we want it to look like, you know, we can give them all that feedback and have them go with it.
Sounds good.
Maybe you could find something. The kids at the girls' game, the boys, I thought the ostrich was absolutely outstanding.
Oh, it was hilarious.
I mean, maybe they can come up with their own.
They went to the
Idea,
drama club
but-
plaza, I think.
I don't know. I mean, in my mind, I'm going through other schools. And no other school except Poland has a mascot.
What, Adirondack has the wild.
Who does?
Adirondack.
They do?
They have the cat,
Oh, they have a cat.
yep.
Okay.
Does CBA
Nobody
have
at
the
that.
thunder, say, they dress up the store up there or no?
What?
We have,
CBA?
CBA's got Thor.
Thor, right?
Oh.
And I think a lot of schools who recently changed their mascot are looking to actually get a mascot at this
I
point.
believe that's right. I believe the branding, you know, and I totally understand where you're coming from. I look at it through all angles, and I also look at the kids having their own identity. For years, yes, it was the Indians here, and it's hard, you know, once an Indian, always an Indian. These kids are going with a whole different brand, and sometimes I think you want that true identity of where you stand. You know, we are the central hub of the community, and it is great when you walk in to go to OCC last Friday and see, or 2 Fridays ago, and see the following of West Canadian, you know, alum and families in that gym. It means this place is truly special. You don't see that at every school. And that was something, I know, I was there with my older sister, and she made reference right off the bat, was like, the stands are completely packed over here with families. So people take notice, and this is just an added layer of having that true identity. When he's saying you have kids lining up, I can definitely see it. You know, the kids want that identity, they want to be supportive, and I think we have to take that and run with it.
But just, the committee that, well, we had the kids come in with a focus group, I don't know if, I mean, I presented to the committee, I didn't present to everybody here, but that was one of the premier things they were looking for, was a unique, and they wanted an actual thing. That's what they told us, so.
Thank you. Okay,
Any,
any questions? Thank you. Ms. Nofree?
Currently, students are working through the Reading Safari program, so what they're doing is reading a minimum of 6 hours outside of the school day to earn a ticket to the Enchanted Forest Water Safari. as Mr. Broadbent had said, we had our online safety presentation particularly geared at students in grades 4, 5, and then our 6th graders joined 7th and 8th during those presentations. Students are currently participating in the STAR local assessments. Teachers use that data for progress monitoring, data analysis, and to drive instruction. We have the Scholastic Book Fair is taking place right now through tomorrow is the last day. We had our school band concert last Thursday. On Wednesday, students will participate in emotional and art, so the elementary will go in the morning, and I believe secondary will go in the afternoon with Tom Verano, so we're looking forward to that. We have our concert on Thursday night this week. We have our superintendent's conference day. The teachers also will be participating in the emotion and to art that day as well as working on some curriculum planning, some data analysis. They'll be participating in other various conferences as well. We have our annual book swap taking place on March 18th, where students can choose from a variety of gently used books. They can bring one from home to swap one out for a book they don't have, or feel free to, we have a plethora of books for them to choose from. March 21st and 22nd, we have springtime parent conferences, particularly for students who are receiving academic intervention services, or if parents wish to have a conference. We have early dismissal, so on the 21st and 22nd, the elementary will dismiss at 11:30 for conferences to take place. During that time, we also are going to have pre-K and kindergarten registration. Right now, because most of our pre-K, we have about 41 students, they do not need to register for kindergarten. They will they're already registered in our school management system, and they will go right into kindergarten for next year. We have, and there's a few, we have about 4 new kindergarten students that are going to register in September. We have about 18 so far packets going out to our pre-K for next year. So I think that's a good start right now. That's also, so I want to talk to you about as well, with the kindergarten, we will not have to do a kindergarten screening day this year, since all of our pre-Kers do go through a screening process. We will just have to screen the new students coming in. We also have coming up, starting May 19th, we are starting an extended day program for all of our Tier 2 and Tier 3 intervention students in grades 4, 5, and 6. So they have an opportunity to stay after school on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3:30 to 4:45 to receive some extra support, particularly in the area of ELA with some reading and writing skills. And I have worked with Mr. Ray, so late buses will be available for those students if needed. And the last thing I wanted to talk to you about, so next year, I would like to start a community care closet in the elementary school. And what that will mean is provide items for students and families, clothing and hygiene. So students and families can come in before or after school. They can go into the closet and take any kind of items that they need, whether it's clothing, any type of hygiene products, shampoos, soaps, laundry detergents, feminine hygiene products, anything along that nature. And it will be completely anonymous. We will just ask that if somebody takes something, they will kind of write down what they took, just so we can keep a record of what is most needed when we are replenishing. And I'm going to say all of the items that we're going to get for the community care closet will be through donations. So gently used clothing, we'll have some dress down days just to have staff bring in an item for our care closet. So that's something we hope to have up and running for September.
Where will that be located?
So I'm looking right now, I want something kind of in the front of the school that will have easy access, and hopefully we will also extend it to the secondary. I can work with Mr. Broadbent on that as well. I have a couple spots, but we haven't particularly chosen one yet, but something toward the front of the school in between us and the high school.
Would it be open to students also?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yes, students can go and visit during the day.
Okay.
Families are welcome to come in with students or on their own and also, take any items they need.
Thank you.
Sure.
What does academic intervention mean?
So AAS services, students that are struggling, they receive additional support. We have a number of academic interventionist teachers, reading teachers, math teachers, that just provide extra support to students.
Like a tutoring type thing?
Well, it's done during the school day, so they work with small groups of students on particular skill deficits.
In the middle school, high school, that's the same thing.
You're starting this after school May 19th?
Yes.
Why so late in the year?
Just getting things up and running just took a little bit longer this year, fortunately.
I was just curious.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna talk to Dennis later, right? We're gonna talk to you later?
Yes.
All right. Before I motion to approve the consent agenda, I had a question and I just wanted to bring it up to everyone about the senior trip. There was a question about what the school pays for, and it was a $1,400 charge. I believe we purchase all of the kids' tickets to get into the park every year.
And that's something that's been going on long before I got here. The kids pay for the transportation piece, the overnight, and from my understanding is the district picks up the tickets for those one day. So they did it, and that's where that 1,400 was that you guys saw in the warrant report.
Were there any questions on that? Motion to approve the consent agenda. Sarah first. Elisa second, all in favor? Motion to enter executive session for the appointment of personnel matters, including review and appointment of employees, contract negotiations. Ed first, Janine second, all in favor? are starting out with the personnel report. Motion to accept the resignation of Mary Lou Flansburgh, senior account clerk, payroll clerk, for the purpose of retirement, effective April 12th, 2024. Peter first.
With
Janine?
regret, please.
Janine second, all in favor. Volume is on.
You know,
Sorry about that. Sorry. A motion
Thought
to
you were saying her
appoint
name now.
Valerie Felchi, substitute teacher, teacher assistant, monitor aide, K through 12, per the district approved rate sheet effective March 12th, 2024. Janine first, Ed second, all in favor. Motion to appoint Megan Robinson, substitute teacher, teacher assistant, monitor aide, K through 12, per the district approved rate sheet effective March 12th, 2024. Shauna first, Ed second, all in favor. Motion to approve Richard Snyder, substitute teacher, assistant aide, K through 6, per the district approved rate sheet effective March 12th, 2024. Janine first, Elisa second, all in favor. Motion to appoint Emily Sutterly, substitute school nurse, K through 12, per the district approved rate sheet pending New York State fingerprint clearance. Janine first, Ed second, all in favor. Motion to approve family leave for Taylor Butler, first grade teacher, effective June 3rd, 2024 through June 26th, 2024, due to maternity childcare leave. Ed first, Elisa second, all in favor. Motion to accept an anonymous donation for $250,000. Shauna first, Janine second, all in favor. Motion to approve the transportation proposition. Elisa first, Ed second, all in favor. Motion to approve the 2024-25 district calendar. Elisa first, Janine second, all in favor. Okay.
That's the
And-
second one that we got, right?
Yes.
The only change on the calendar was the August superintendent's conference day. I had originally put 26th, it's actually the 29th, so it would be the Thursday, and then they would have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then we return Tuesday, kids come Wednesday.
they go to school, they come to school on that Thursday.
The kids will come to school starting on the 4th of September. Next year's calendar is pretty much the longest calendar
I know,
that a school can have.
maybe until July.
You're starting to see, because you had to put in there Lunar New Year, you had to put in other days, and it's starting to,
What's the difference between the two?
the date for the August 20, if you look at, in August, under beneath it, or below it, where it says student vacation days.
Oh, on this part?
Yeah,
Oh,
that August conference day on the original was the 26th that I had given you, it needs to be the 29th. That's the only change.
okay. Right here.
Yep.
You just didn't color on this one.
I didn't know where to put August, to tell you the
Yeah.
truth.
What's that?
Yep. Okay, discussion item, first, budget workshop 4.
I'll let Kelly talk a little bit, she's getting some numbers, we're starting to plug them in. Still, no word out of Albany whether the Safe Harmless will be, used or not. That's kind of weighing on a lot of districts, about 50% of the districts in New York really are kind of, are we getting funds taken away, are we gonna go in at zero, what's going to happen? Everything out of Albany says that hopefully calmer heads prevail, like I said, from day one, and they don't take money from districts. but it is a wake-up call moving forward that this is a possibility coming out of Albany in the future. So,
Yep, as it stands right now, we have a $341,000 reduction in federal or in state aid. Everything I've been hearing is that they're gonna hold us to 0, but we'll see when that happens. We'll do the appropriations first, the expenditures. And just like I have every year, I put little notes on the side as to what affected that particular budget code. The bulk of it is salaries and benefits and BOCES expenditures that are the uncontrollable costs that DJ was talking about when he did his presentation. If you look down to the bottom of that first page, there's a reduction of $3,000 that I transferred to another code, just for ease of making sure that everything was tracked correctly. On the top of the next page is where that money went into. And it's postage increases, the salaries. And towards the bottom of the second page is the gym floor. That code went up $52,000. And the quotes, which I think you've got for tonight, are between 40 and 50 to do both gym floors. That's sanding the high school floor totally to bare wood and repainting the lines and everything. And then an elementary, which we'll talk about that later, but the elementary is just doing the center. They're gonna sand down the center circle and put the new logo on it. Top of page 3, the fuel costs, I knocked that down a little bit because the prices seem to have kind of leveled out, and so I took a little bit out of that. Down a little farther is the equipment replacement plan. That's a reduction of $18,000 because last year we bought the Kubota side-by-side. So that came out, and this year we're gonna rebuild the engine on the dump truck for $18,000 because it's seen better days, but to buy a new one is $90,000. So we're gonna go for the lesser of the two evils. The rest of that down through there, about halfway down the page is architecture costs. Every 5 years, we have to do a building condition survey, which we did this year. And then that is followed by a 5-year plan that the architects have to turn into the state. So we did the survey this year, which actually we just filed it March 1st. And then we'll follow that with the 5-year plan in July.
That's a state mandate?
Yes. To split the between the 2 years. And then the 5-year plan is what the capital projects and stuff are based on going forward. Did you talk about the building condition?
I have that in my discussion items.
Rest is increased costs of products. I reduced the reconditioning of the field because of it being turf. We're not gonna have to have the football field reconditioned every year again. We still will have to do soccer fields for practice and stuff. Top of page 4, that fourth one down is a request for a second clerical position in the elementary. The money, I put it in there, that's depending on how everything sugars off. That's up to you guys, how we wanna handle that. And then about halfway down, there's a $39,000 increase, and that was salaries. We had, when we did the pre-K program, we had to have 4 teaching assistants, but our base grant will only cover 2 teachers and 2 TAs. So general fund had to absorb the other 2 teaching assistants, so that's the increase in that line.
What do you have for? 2, the number of kids.
Numbers.
Yeah.
Numbers with 20 kids.
We had 2 TAs.
That's what we were told, so.
We have to have a teacher and 2 TAs for 2019.
Well, we had
Anything
20
above
and 21,
18.
yeah.
And we actually got a waiver for the one class of 21.
Wow.
And we didn't know this before the program?
We had applied for an extended grant, but there had been another $400,000 that we assumed we were going to get because it was a new program, and they did not grant us that
They
extended
didn't give
grant.
us any.
We also reapplied for that same grant this year.
And by the time we found out that we didn't get it, it was already August.
And we applied again?
Mrs.
Yes.
Milfrey did a wonderful
We
job.
didn't get it again?
No, we haven't heard anything
Oh,
this
we don't know
time,
yet.
but
Is
Mrs.
there
Milfrey,
aides or
Mrs. Milfrey put
assistants?
it in.
Assistant.
For assistance.
So that was about a month ago. We submitted it and we're still waiting to hear about 24, 25.
21 4-year-olds? God bless America.
Down towards the bottom of that page, there's a pretty good increase in the BOCES line for $122,000 increase. And that is alt ed students and P-TECH students, along with regular program increases in that budget rate.
What does that mean, Cal, that all paid?
Alternative education, we have to pay to send our kids to BOCES if they're in the alt ed program. And it is, I wanna say 30,000 per student for the year. And then the P-TECH is the professional, and I don't, what's it called? Mr. Brown,
The P-TECH, what's it stand for?
Yeah.
It's, I'm trying to think.
I think we have
It's like
8.
a vocational, they do, it's a program with Herkimer College. They can continue through the program, get their degree through Herkimer College, going through the program. It's largely like communications and stuff.
That one's not as expensive, but we have a couple more kids in it next year than there is right now.
Kelly, on page 5, the top
The testing materials you're looking at?
includes 2 TAs for pre, whatever it is. Page 5, top one.
That's really,
Non-instructional.
My numbers must be off of yours.
it's this one right here. I
It's
believe
the one
it's
for the 2 TAs.
The 2 TAs for UP10.
Yes. That's, yeah, my numbers don't line up with yours. That was the 2 teaching assistants.
2 new ones?
That's for the
For the
UPK
pre-K.
program. Because of our numbers, we had to do it.
Oh, okay.
But this one says
The
for
description
7
says
to
7 to 12.
7 to 12.
Yeah, I think that one was an error.
It says 7 through 12.
Yeah, that one was an error. I carried it down.
Oh, okay, so
Shouldn't
it
have.
was supposed to go up and down, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, so that goes
When I
down.
typed in salary, it
Okay.
threw the rest of it in there without, I didn't know it was in there. That's my mistake. And then down farther is the Alta. On my page 5, it's probably on your page 5. Handicapped children, 2250 codes. We have several students now that need audiology equipment. So we've had to buy several different devices to put in the classrooms. And this is to finish doing the classrooms next year, because the kids will be moving
I
from
was
where
gonna say,
they
do
are.
they, the equipment travel with the child?
It does to a point, but right now, there's more kids than we have equipment for. And I think next year, Ms. Snowfree was gonna try to get them grouped so that there's more in one classroom. But that's a scheduling thing. The handicapped child tuition, that is a second child that is an out of placement. It's at House of Good Shepherd, I think, or UCP, I'm not sure which one. But we've had one there, and now we'll have 2 next year. And then the $255,000 increase is the BOCES costs for their programs, for the autism programs and that one went from 889 to 1,144. But then just a couple of rows down, it reduced. Because we have fewer CTE students.
The increase, is it due to,
What are you looking
2250, 498?
at? That's due to the number of students in the program that they're in.
Is it students moving in the district?
I'm not sure if they're new students or if they've just been relocated from other programs. These programs vary from 30,000 to our highest program is 85,000. So depending on which program they're in.
That's if you don't need a one-on-one, and there's
That's
other
why.
things that will, the
I mean, just say that,
500,000.
yeah, it's just that.
255. An increase. Because of the placements.
Right, yeah.
They're hiring, so.
Yeah, the higher than these. And
I just don't recall that from years previous, that's all. That's why I'm wondering if there's two children in the district.
now that one fluctuates pretty good every year.
Okay.
Because as the kids age out, they drop off, obviously.
Right.
Kids come in, there's more. And then the one-to-one aides are all part of that also. The one-to-one aides and the speech and physical therapy stuff.
Sometimes with those high placement costs, you have stack aid and you have other different types to recuperate some of those, the funds that are being spent.
Our high cost aids limit is 47,000.
Okay, so it's not-
Anything we spend over 47,000 can be stacked and be refunded. They're limits
47 total or 47,000 per child?
per child.
So we get 94 back.
We pay the first 47,000. Anything above that, above the 47, can be put into the aid, excess cost aid. The next is all salaries. The nurses, 2815 code, our elementary nurse increased by half an hour a day for the pre-K, because they're here earlier.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's why hers is up more than the other. We go to 2855 codes. That salary decrease is reflective of the change in the AD position. The rest of all that is salary. Increases in products that we're buying, bus parts and cleaning products, everything is increasing. And then the last two pages are the benefits. State retirement, New York State retirement, teacher's retirement, Social Security, health insurance was 5% increase this year. But we also have additional staff from what we started with. And then capital project bonds and payments, plus payments. The overall percentage increase for expenditures was 3.5%. The overall budget increase.
3.5.
Yep, it's on the bottom of the page there. Which is about where we normally are. It's about, usually about 3. Any questions? I know I went through it a little quick.
How's the fund balance look?
The fund balance is, we're gonna be using some of it this year.
How much is it? Not to be rude.
End of last fiscal year, it was just under 4 million. And we did use a little bit of it last year, we used about 600,000 last year,
We used how much of it?
600.
Little bit.
It's all relative.
On page 4,
That's what it's there for.
it says salary
No,
to
just
the
saying a little
clerical
bit,
position. I thought we had money already there for
There's money there for half of the position.
half of it.
Would you spend it on?
Oh, we had was it a part-time person?
There was
Oh.
money in there for a part-time position, so that 20,000.
The fund balance, would we spend it on?
Oh, we just overall expenditures.
Same thing like that.
There wasn't any one specific thing. It's just,
Yeah.
we spent 600 more than we received in revenue. Any other questions on the expenditures?
Can we assume that the fund balance is gonna be close to what it was?
It should be,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I'm hoping
My
we've
other
been
question is,
deferring.
how's the cafeteria? What's going on there?
They're doing well,
They are?
yes, they're doing well.
Are we in the plus?
Yes, as of right now, yes.
We're in the plus.
The state is matching the federal, it's for the free and reduced kids. It used to be just free and reduced kids that we got full reimbursement on, but now the state is matching and making full reimbursement on all of the kids
So they're in the black.
for this year. They still owe general fund some money
Okay.
from previous years. But yeah, they're in the positive this year.
How good? How good are we?
I would have to run the numbers on that.
Can I get that information for you?
I can look at it tomorrow.
So they have to pay that back to the general fund?
We've been doing it kind of incrementally.
How many years do we have for free and reduced lunch for all?
It's a 3-year program.
Or year two?
So we're in year 2.
Is that something that we can go and do again?
Yes. And we're hoping that maybe they'll just let it ride. Let it continue.
See why not? I mean,
It's, well, and it's nationwide, everybody.
well, it's great.
Federal government is trying to push for that. A lot of people are trying to push federal for that.
And I will get that information for you.
Well, why I ask is because I look at that cafeteria report we get, and the bills are astronomical. What are we ordering? Because all I hear is the kids don't eat here because the food's so bad. So if you're spending that kind of money, what are we ordering? I mean, I would like to know. Cisco is one of them. What?
I think
That
that's
was
a
almost
general-
$9,000.
Cisco is about the only company that will deliver to us. The others won't come here because we're too far away from everybody else. They don't wanna drive here for that.
But also your standard, you
Well,
go into the
Samsung.
grocery store
Yeah,
today.
28.
I have a family of, 4, and going to the grocery store just for us is astronomical. I mean, the price of food.
Family of one, and that's astronomical.
But I think the food prices are outrageous, and it's something that we're just gonna have to keep a close eye on.
Well, our cafeteria has been really in the hole for years and years and years.
And that's
But I just-
every
I just-
district cafeteria is in the hole.
I just can't fathom, what are we ordering at that amount of money?
I have not looked at the orders, so I can't tell you that.
And all I hear are complaints,
Yeah, the toilet paper.
But, we used to have good food here.
I think that, but we have to be careful too, because what we were able to do 10, 15 years ago,
Oh, yeah.
they can't even come close to in the cafeteria with
Yeah.
certain recipes and things like that. So their hands are tied quite a bit of what they can allow the children
We
to eat.
should hire a catering service.
They literally have to count the chicken McNuggets, measure
Yeah, we get the door.
the scoop of corn.
It's ridiculous.
It is absolutely ridiculous. And to have a 15-year-old think they're gonna survive on
Right.
5 chicken McNuggets from
Yeah.
7 AM to 7 PM.
Yeah.
Right.
But those are not my legs.
Yeah, can your kids order doubles?
They
Pay
can,
for the
yeah,
double,
they can
right?
pay, yeah, they
So
can buy a
pay
second
for
meal.
it.
The first meal's free, but they can buy anything à la carte.
That's what we call in school, doubles.
Still is.
Renzi from up north is a big distributor around here now. You say you only get it from Cisco. They sell to a lot of the restaurants and stuff. And Smith Backen was sold last year to a company out of Rochester, so there's other food
We are
places
looking-
out there.
We are looking at getting into the DCMO BOCES bidding, because Herkimer BOCES stopped the bidding process for the food. They stopped bidding for everything. So for us to join a co-op kind of thing for it, we'd have to go through DCMO BOCES, Delaware. And we are looking into that.
They did it in the teacher supplies, they stopped it bidding.
They stopped bidding everything.
Yeah.
They don't do funnels, they don't do anything. So, yeah, so we are looking into the,
Cisco.
getting into that one. Anything else? And, I mean, obviously, email me questions or email Jeremy or whatever, and I can answer. But this was actually printed today at like 2:30, so.
That's fine.
You gotta know where to look for the,
And the revenue side. First column is what our current budget is. The second column is our tax cap calculated at just 2% is what our cap is allowed, unless we do a supermajority to pass the budget. So that tax number right there is with the 2% increase from last year's level. If you go down through there, you will see down towards the bottom, the $10 million number is the aid that the governor's budget put out.
11 million, right?
Nope, the center column. The first column is what we currently are getting, 10,000,008. The second column is what the budget, is what the governor is projecting in her budget.
Okay.
And then the third column is if we were left hold harmless, we would have gotten 11 million. Yes, so it's a big difference. And we had a reduction in the capital project payment, but along with that reduction came a reduction in the aid that came from that payment. So the next number down, the BOCES number, dropped from 2.2 to 1.9. And that's a direct correlation with the payment for BOCES project. So yeah, we're paying less, but we're also getting less.
How many years were you in BOCES, 3?
5 or 6. With the budgets, the bids coming in the way they did, we're hoping that the last payment will be able to be waived.
Oh,
So at least me.
5 more payments.
Yes. But this first year was the biggest one.
Right.
The rest of them have all, they're all go down. So if you look on the back of the paper, you will see under the bold numbers, the 19 million was our revenues for this current year. The 18.7 is the projected revenues for 24-25, which is a $329,000 shortfall. The last number is if we were held harmless, we would have an increase of 175,000. And then down on the bottom, the very bottom line is the numbers that would be needed to have some fund balance to balance the budget. The last column is with a 5% tax increase, which I just put it on there for reference. I'm not saying 5%. It's just that's what it would look like. Questions? Comments?
You said previously about looking for that 3-year program aid, what are you in the process for applying for it again?
For the school lunch?
Yeah.
We don't have to apply till next year. This is we're in our second year of 3. But yeah, we
So
will.
wait till the 3rd year?
Yes. And that will be applied for.
Now, is there a chance that the governor is gonna give that saved homeless money back, or is it?
What's gonna happen now is that it's in the legislature and assembly, and they have been telling our people that it will come back, that it will be 0. But that's up to them.
Right.
That's up to them. This is, the center column is the worst case scenario,
Okay.
and the end column is if they hold us to 0. I really would like to see a little bit, maybe 2%, 3%.
agreed
But
earlier.
0 is tough, but doable. But the negative is not feasible.
And having that conversation, you know, we've been talking quite a bit about this. It was important to see worst case scenario
Yes.
on this piece of paper, because in reality is, this isn't gonna stay around forever, you know, with Save Harmless and dwindling enrollment. But granted, we're being asked to do more than just educate children now. Than 10, 15 years ago, you have mental health, you have social emotional, a lot of unfunded mandates when it comes, so even though our enrollment has dropped, I feel like what we're being asked to do per student has gone up quite a bit. But again, with this being out there, this isn't the last time we'll have this conversation. It's not the last time we'll see the governor try to take Save Harmless from the schools. So it's not if, it's when at this point. So I think moving forward, we just have to have an open mind that this could come, and, you know, we might not be sitting here saying we hear that it's coming back. We might be sitting here saying it's not coming back. So cross that bridge when we get there, but it's, the reality is, it's not if, it's when, most likely at this point. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. Yes, feel free to reach out with any questions.
While we're talking about this, we need to set the time we're gonna meet on the BOCES.
Well, our next board meeting's April 15th, and then we have to meet on that Wednesday, so if everybody's gonna decide tonight, or you're not, have a 2-day notice next meeting.
Probably should decide tonight, don't we? When do we usually meet? 7?
It has to be in by a certain time, too. Do you know what time your total has to be in to Sean Maxon? I think it's 5 o'clock, but I'm not sure. I think that's why we always did it in the morning, because it had to be into her by a certain time.
Well, I'll just reach out to everyone
They got all these rules. Jeez.
and it has to be taken there, correct?
Has to
You
be
sure
taken.
want to hire me for
Right.
6th grade?
Too many rules.
All right, well, I'll reach out then. I'll just reach out.
Straight line.
Sarah's not here anyway. Okay, do you want to give us an update on the capital project?
Absolutely. After the meeting, if you guys would like, I will walk you around the district. It's totally your call. Everything is taking shape on the first phase. We had a concert last week, last Thursday. We'll have one again this Thursday in the auditorium. It's nice to have the auditorium back. We're still working through some glitches with the acoustics. They aren't quite where we feel they need to be, so we're looking at, we put some of the acoustic panels in the back, hoping that it wouldn't hit the back wall, but we're learning this all together. So we'll continue to work with everybody and try to get that taken care of. We're working very
I
closely.
didn't think it was really that bad.
Yeah, well, the
Were you
music department has that different,
Were you in the back?
yeah, he was.
In the back,
The
yeah.
very back wasn't as bad, but when you get down into the
Oh,
middle,
it's bad, it's bad.
it's echoing off
Because the
the walls.
panels are absorbing where you are.
I was
But it
sitting,
stops your.
I sit in the back so nobody can see.
So we'll continue to work on that. Pool update. I sent 2 emails today to try to get going. So I sent one to one individual. I got an email back. He'll be back in the office on March 25th. So with that being said, I found Kelly had sent me an email of another person at County Health. I sent them an email. As of 8:35, I have not received any emails. I'm trying, but this is a situation where we need them. They need to come and do it, but I'm trying to reach out and just be polite. Please you know.
Who's the Department of Health?
Yes. So I'm trying to work well.
You know anybody in the Department of Health?
But we have another PTO
I know,
swim
and
night that has
yeah,
to be
but it's,
canceled.
but Kathy and I we've been in communication on that. I don't want it to be canceled. I want the kids in the pool. We just can't do anything until they give us the clearance to do it. So I will continue to work. As soon as believe me, the moment I know, you guys will know.
We're under the swimming that night.
It's been very, you know, I'm not discouraging to a point, but yes, discouraging, because I know how much fun those kids have, bringing my kids to the ones in our community, and I want the kids in the pool. So I will continue. I will let you guys all know as soon as I have any information. The turf field. So we're looking at doing phase 2 of the capital project. It's still an SED, but it's very important. We are going to go with a co-op purchase, and I know you guys had discussed that prior to me being here. It allows the timing to get the project done before snow falls in 25. If we don't go that option, you're looking at 25 no matter what to complete this project, and not hopefully by October of 24. With that being said, we're looking at doing letter of intents with some of the companies that are going to participate in this. We have Musco Lighting, the turf company is, what's the?
Turf field.
Turf field, but Chenango, and Ben Hanna is doing the excavation for Chenango to do
Dan
the
Clayton
field.
is the bleachers.
And Dan, yes.
Ben would be under the turf field.
Yes, he will be doing, he's the subcontractor doing the stuff under the field. With that being said, does anybody have any concerns doing letter of intent so we can get in line? So when this clears SED, we're ready to rock and roll. Thank you, so we'll get those out because we want to get our line, the bleachers is the only thing that might be the last of the last to complete this project. They will not even start fabrication until we sign a contract. But this way, at least the contracts will be drawn up and ready to go for as soon as we get it through SED, we'll have those contracts for all of you. And we had a big meeting last week with everybody in one room, going over all the steps for this project. So we're hoping to move the scoreboard across the field, do all that. With that being said, we have a couple renderings that I have brought for you guys. This is really the one that we're liking right now across the board. The only difference is we would look at maybe adding the bird and the wings in the end zone so the WCB kind of looks unique.
I've seen that. That bee looks pretty cool.
Mr. Hoban and I were having some conversations this morning. But we want to make the WCB unique in the end zone. With that being said, some of the other options we just didn't really like. Yeah, go right ahead. This one, we didn't like how the WCB was in the end zone. It looks weak, it looks kind of crammed in. So we kind of said no to that one. This one, the white in the end zones, here is the dilemma with white in the end zones. If you're playing goalie in soccer and you have a white soccer ball coming at you on the white end zone, you're going to have a hard time picking it up. So that's one thing we discussed. I was a goalie in soccer and I wouldn't want to play at home if that was the case.
You get used to it.
This one, Nighthawks just take up way too much of the end zone. And this is probably the most costly one, so we'll put that down.
$3,000. Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh, I like the WCB.
And then this one we like, but we think that moving it out, we want it simple. You go to some of these fields and you look at them and it gives you a migraine because there's 47 sets of lines and you don't know which way you're going. So.
Did that say West Canada underneath it?
No, it just says Nighthawks. West Canada, yeah, we'd be over budget if we.
Valley. Yeah.
The valley would put us over. But all the numbers are coming in projected below budget. Not by much, but it's below budget. And if you guys are okay, we're gonna try to get the rendering with the WCV with the Hawks in the end zone and probably go with that if everybody's on board with that one. So we can get that moving forward. I think this one is simple. It's nice to look at, it's nice on the eye, and I think the kids will have an awesome time utilizing these facilities for a long, long time. So we'll go, yep, Nighthawks right there, and that's on our home bench, home side. So if you look at it, the bleachers would be on the back. And the lighting, everything, it's amazing to have these conversations. The lighting, years ago, you had the huge poles with 47 lights, and it took 40 minutes to warm up. These are on with a button. So, and they're cost effective when you look at to operate them. They aren't costing an arm and a leg like the old halogen bulbs were. And they can be programmed that if they're doing a track meet, you can put more light on the throwing field, or you can distribute the light. It's all technology based. So is everybody okay with this, with the WCB being hopefully this? So just when you said this is the last one, you got one more. Any questions on the capital project and the field? But thank you. This is going to help us move this, and hopefully once it gets out of SED, we're ready to rock and roll and get the green light just to get going. This time, right now, Mr. Hoban has meets scheduled until May 1st. After May 1st, we're ready to rock and roll. It didn't help that, 4 districts are having field work done on their fields?
Yeah, if you include us, there's 4 districts without a track. Yeah, out of 5 CSC leagues that we think so.
So we're gonna hold an awful lot of them right off the bat.
The football schedule has not been officially released, but I have set it up so that we will actually have, it's 4 away games because we are playing week 0, but we pushed it back as far as we can. In the event that there's some kind of delay, then at least we shouldn't interrupt what we're doing from that standpoint. Obviously, soccer will have their field ready to go that they traditionally have, and then once the turf fields are available for them, we just move them over to that.
Are we hosting the big league meet for track this
No.
year?
Nope. That's going to Adirondack. It was going to Dodgeville, but their track is still not done.
They were all blue. That's how I was told. Their
Yes.
field's blue.
No, the
end
field,
zones
no,
are
the field's
blue.
not all blue.
The field is
Just the
green.
end zone?
Just the end zone.
I was gonna go up there the other day.
We saw a picture of it last week.
Yeah, they did the same company.
Could be like Morrisville State and have an all black turf field. So any other questions related, we'll get this up and running, we'll get the letter of intents ready to rock and roll. And we'll try to stay on this tight schedule to have this ready to go.
40 days of rain.
Listen, I'm trying to be optimistic.
Yeah.
Gym floor. So we sent out the information on the gym floors. You all got the packets. Dennis is here to answer any questions that you might have related to this. I've heard a lot of interesting information about these right now. I know, what are your thoughts on the mascot being in the middle of the floor? Do you wanna, are we good? Do you wanna move to the WCV? I mean, there was mixed conversation that I heard around the room.
I don't like that black line through the middle of any of that, on the lawn.
Which one?
For sport floors,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
got
yeah.
the solid black line right through the whole middle of the design.
That should be the core.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's just a rough drawing.
Yeah,
It's not-
they didn't have the design department.
It'll be purple like it is on the color one.
Yeah, but not through the middle of the whatever we put on there, is it?
No, this color picture doesn't have it through the middle. That's the
Well,
way it-
that I could deal with, this one, but not, definitely not through the middle of it.
And really, this is our main gym. This is the main, it's the one off the floor.
all right.
You know,
I got this.
you look around, you see it depends on what avenue you wanna go, and Dennis, if you can speak up if you
Well,
work
after,
with each of these
after
companies.
meeting with all three of these contractors, one of the gentlemen brought up that the less paint we put on the floors, the less cracking you're gonna see in between the woods from the shifting. So we were looking, Todd and I have talked with all of them, we were looking for more stain inside the 3-point line, a neutral color around for the base, try to eliminate some of that heavy purple, stuff like that, but use the purple for all of our lines. Inside of, on one of them you'll see, all of them are gonna end up being the same, but inside there's the talon mark, that's gonna all be purple and white, your center logos are gonna be purple and white. We're just trying to avoid, if you walk in the gym right now, you see all that black on the outside and you see the gaps in between the paint. And the guys that do this every day say there's no way you're gonna get rid of that. If you have paint, it's gonna look like there's spaces between them. The only way to do it is to go with a natural floor. And then the lettering, they're talking, is a purple lettering with a 3/4 inch border around it of natural and then surrounded by white around the lettering and on the base lines. So we're kinda trying to bring more stain to the paint to offset.
As far as the staining part of it, it's hard to get it reflected on there, but what I've asked for is a stain that is very similar to the stain that we have in our bleachers, so we don't have a lot of different things going on in there, kinda make it come together. The big black that we had on the end line, one, because of the cracking, but two, if we just turn it into letters, it's gonna make the gym feel longer, because you're not gonna be restricted by that. As soon as you hit those black box that you see on the baseline right now, it's, visually it's gonna keep you narrow, so just trying to find a different way to expand it out.
Well, my question would be, you got three, do you prefer one and why?
There's my preference, there's two of them that I like. The one is, I feel like they're gonna put more into it. They're kind of a local thing. They've done stuff around this area. I think they're smaller, so I think they might put a little more time into it.
Which one are we talking about?
That would be the Rochester floors.
It would be this one.
That would be, yes, that would be to me, that's the best mock-up we got. But this is just a quick mock-up that I had. That way we had something to show you guys visually. Wayfair came in and they were another one. I got 3 proposals in there, one with the logo for the elementary, one without. Talking to that guy, he had a wealth of knowledge, I thought. And he sent us some pictures of giant universities he's done. Price-wise, they're all pretty close. So, I mean, I guess it's not my call, but I just tried bringing options.
I think it is.
I tried bringing options. Between Rochester Floor and Wayfair, I was impressed with their presentation, their knowledge of the floors, the way they would do it, the process. They impressed me the most.
Which one was that?
Rochester Floor and Wayfair Sports.
Have you seen any of that work with this Rochester people?
I know they just did the gyms down at Central Valley. They've showed me some pictures that they've had. Wayfair has gave me the most pictures. They have showed me universities, high schools, everything they've done. He came in and gave us ideas with the stains and the gaps in the paints. The guy from Wayfair really knew his stuff, I thought.
There's our pictures.
So, putting you on the spot, which one?
My preference, I think I would go with Wayfair.
You don't have any pictures
I
of them?
don't
though?
have any pictures from them.
Well,
That was the
we would
big
give
one
them
I-
this.
Oh, the big one? Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's in my office.
Right?
It's, all it is
It's
it's the
very
same
similar
thing,
to
it's similar to, it's got the Nighthawk logo in there, it's got the stain. He was the one that told us about the gaps in the paints. He really knew his stuff when he came in, he
You
impressed
like
me.
the look of the stain?
Yes.
I kinda like that. Yeah. It's
I
nice.
think it'll freshen it up.
Yeah.
You know, it'll look lighter.
It's a little yellow.
I'm sorry, he did give me a 1-4 Wayfair, it looks similar to this. You know, I think that will make the, no, we're good. It's very, very similar to this one. I feel like Dennis has talked to all these companies, he's, you know, picked their brains. You know, I feel like if that's the path that he thinks we should go, I think we should.
Is there a time frame we have to make a decision?
Well, as soon as we make a decision, we'll call and get on the books so we can get this scheduled.
Yeah,
for
cause
the
this is a
summer,
time
'cause
sensitive thing with them, because they're planning their summers out too.
Mhm.
It's a matter of when we can get into there. I've already scheduled our gym inspection for the end of June, so we have from July 1st till the time school starts. So we have nobody that has to go in these gyms.
Before you can get on it, right?
Bingo. Especially depending on humidity too.
I've always made them wait 3 weeks.
And I see that Wayfair lists like what products they use and even like what kind of sandpaper they use. Would it pretty much be the same, or you just kind of don't really know what the other company's gonna do?
Everybody's, from what I've talked to, everybody's kinda got the same idea. The only thing that Wayfair kinda got me with is, we've had companies come in and screen our floors every year and then recoat them. He says that we actually damage the floor by doing that, because you can still see some of the scratch marks in it. He's got an abrasive pad he comes in with, does it like that, and you'll never see any of them lines, like if we walk through after each year we refinish. I mean, that's just something that comes with the trade. That's one of the reasons that, you know, he's telling me that he can't do this, but he can do that, and he was very knowledgeable.
Now, would they come refinish them too in the future, or?
Each year, yes, they will. Yeah, I mean, that's something we have to pay every year and budget
Right.
for, but, the high school floor, this is once every 12 to 15 years you're gonna do this. So,
Sanding the down and.
sanding down to bare and starting fresh.
What was that? You only got 2 chances to do
Right,
this on the
yes,
floor,
yeah.
and then you have to replace the whole floor. But is this the first time, Dennis? So we still have one
Yeah, I
more
think
time.
they just replaced the high school not too
This
long
is the
ago,
first
12 or
time
something.
it'll be sanded.
Right.
I don't know if I like the talent, but. I don't know if I like that on the. Talent
We don't
scratches.
have to have the talent scratches in
I
there.
think because it's small in this picture, but I think like
Yeah, it doesn't
on
give
the
it like-
It was-
gym, it
yeah.
will be.
The original idea was that it was gonna be bigger, but they had a, excuse me, a volleyball court laid out, which we don't have. And they were squeezing it in, so it was on there, but they didn't realize that it was out.
Right.
So the idea would be, it would be a much more pronounced effect in there. It can be blank, it can be whatever we want, but I was just trying to come up with something that would add a little more
Yeah.
flavor to who we are in that area, because it is going to be, it's not gonna be purple, you know, so it's gonna be a nice stain, or a nice, natural wood compared to the rest of it, and I thought it just needed something to offset that area a little bit more, so. And
I'm
that
fine
is,
with
that is a
you
Mr.
guys
Caper
decide
design.
that. General ideas.
You should put it like on someone's like hot spot where like they like to shoot. It would be like the.
Create the
Dennis and
5-pointer.
Mr. Lynch, Mr. Hoven, thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for putting the time into this.
Okay, buildings survey update.
Yep, and if everybody's okay, will be scheduling this to get on the calendar with,
So we're going with Wayfair,
we'll go with
with this
Wayfair.
design.
No, we can, the design still is something.
Yeah, that's not set in stone.
It's not set in stone, but I wanna get on
Trying to
this.
get it done.
Well, I like the stain and I like the purple trim and I like the Nighthawks and I like the West Canada
You
Valley.
just don't like the talents.
I don't like the talent.
Oh. But it's nice to get on the schedule so we can get this done. And building survey update, as Kelly was saying, we had the 5-year buildings condition survey done, and we, Mr. Lynch, Mr. Brewer, Kelly and myself sat in with the architects to go over the findings. Really, our facilities are in good shape, and they went out and did the bus garage also. less than $1 million in recommended fixes throughout the district. Once that final survey is completed, I will present that to you. But really the highlights are, in the future, we're gonna have to address interior doors. They're getting to that point. A lot of these doors are very old inside the building. Yes. LED light fixtures eventually, I know some of them have gone that route. That's a cost savings. These are really, in the future, you could do $100,000 projects that could knock off some of these before a capital project. And that's just looking down the road. And they're called overlay projects, correct? Correct, 100,000.
Yeah, they're within the budget.
Yeah. So, and then eventually we need to address the intercom for both elementary and high school. That's something on its last leg that we're looking long-term. And that's just outdated. You know, there's technology comes and goes quickly. We need to continue doing a preventative maintenance throughout the building and the facilities. And I think the maintenance department does a wonderful job, whether it's up on the roof, fixing like the skylights, things like that, the flashing, you know, all that preventative maintenance saves dollars long-term. We have great facilities, we want to keep them great. And then we'll continue to monitor the high school cafeteria floor, and that's something that we'll continue to monitor and see what's going on. But other than that, it was a very minimal list of things that we need to address. And the great thing about these is, usually you're taking all this and that's how you design the capital projects. So I'm quite pleased with the outcome of this capitals, or the condition survey. And we'll continue to keep up on what we have here. And the more effort and the more work we put in now, the longer that these facilities will be in good standing.
We can have enough on the survey to do a capital project.
Which is,
That's awesome.
it's extreme, I mean, very, yeah. These can go really one way real quick, especially when you have architects, you know, going over them. Any questions on that? I know I threw a lot out at you tonight, but thank you very much.
How are we with the drinking water?
Drinking water, we are good, and we will continue. You know, there was a lot of change, and I think that's where we got caught up. We did do lead testing, so that has been sent out. That was done Monday at 5 a.m. or
Last Friday
at 5 a.m. Yep, sorry, Mr. Lynch. But I feel very confident with where we're at.
Last meeting, we talked about a room that wasn't getting the alert.
We're still working on those. We did we sent out a test. We're compiling that information. We're trying to get those rooms taken care of.
Can we get the whistle out of this one too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel like I'm at home.
Oh, today it was every couple of minutes something would rap against my office window.
There was a and there's a part of the band room that doesn't get alerted.
It's the small lesson rooms that have speakers in them.
We will continue to, we will try to come up with a solution to that.
Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, we have a lot of announcements. March 14th will be music in our school's chorus, 5 through 12th grade, 7 p.m. March 15th is Superintendent's Conference Day, no school for students. March 21st through the 22nd is Elementary Parent-Teacher Conferences and UPK registration. March 22nd through the 23rd is the WCV drama production at 7 p.m. What is the production?
Yes,
Robin? And also will be the first annual art show at 6 p.m. March 29th through April 5th will be spring break, no school. April 8th is an unused emergency day. Number 1, tentative, we don't have a snow day.
There's going to be one other, so I did send out the unused snow days to staff and community so everybody knows what the one change is. that when I send it out, May 3rd would be the first one off the board, May 8th would be the second one off the board. I wanted a cushion because what you're hearing throughout the news, not only in central and western New York, but now moving north, is a lot of schools are going to be out on the 8th for the solar eclipse. Because they're predicting, even DOT is predicting heavy traffic in these areas, because it's a band going from Buffalo right straight through, where people are traveling not only from across the state, but across the US to come and witness this. The solar eclipse would be going on right at about 3 o'clock when kids are on the bus. So we have those unused snow days. The other thing is you didn't want to put too many around Memorial Day. A, parents and people have to work, and B, we have Regencies starting on June 4th, so you really don't want a 5-day break over Memorial Day. So that's kind of where we strategically placed them.
Thank you. April 15th will be our next board meeting at 6 p.m. April 22nd, school board petitions are due by 5 p.m. and we have 2 seats that will be open. May 13th is the public hearing and our regular meeting at 6 p.m. May 21st is our annual budget vote and board elections taking place in the lobby from noon to 8 p.m. Any public comments, questions? No? Any questions? Sarah and motion to adjourn? Shauna first, Ed second, all in favor?
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Mr. Kemler, you're around the rest of the week, stop